hello, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the podcast pre-show. Blake, what is a podcast pre-show?
The podcast pre-show is a very special part of what we do here. It is where we get a chance to just relax and just get ready for the podcast that we are about to create. And Mary does what she does, which is what she's doing right now. As you can see, she is sharing this live with the rest of the world. And she is making sure that anybody who wants to see this can see this from all of our profiles. And I would hope and I would request that you do the same. So if you want this podcast to grow and bring more nerds into the fold, just take a screenshot of this or hit that share button and then share on your various profiles that you have. Because the best way for any podcast to grow is through word of mouth. So please go ahead and share this. Let us know that you shared it. And then also let us know what your name is, where you're from in the comments section, just so we get an idea of who's watching and what you guys are all doing. Also, another thing to consider is that this is a fly-on-the-wall experience that we are doing as we are podcasting. Mary and I are podcasting this show. You get a chance to see the behind the scenes, all of the mistakes, all of the flubs, every single thing that happens as we record, even the interruptions, and what those look like. We want you to have the conversations that you want to have in the comments section. But if there is something that you are absolutely dying for us to hear or see or read, even if you've already put it in the comments section, there will be a listener feedback portion of this episode. It is called, what's it called? I can't remember now. The Fellowship of the Ring. During the Fellowship of the Ring, put that comment into the comment section. That's when Mary and I will see it, and we will address it at that point. If you put it somewhere else, and there is no guarantee it will be seen because we get lots of comments, lots of conversation happening. So just make sure that you engage with us at that point. That's it, Mom. That's all I got. You got anything else that you want to chat about?
That's it as
all
well.
Right,
I'm ready.
Let's make a podcast, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. 10 seconds for...
Room tone.
The High King believes that if I were to face the enemy alone, I may be vulnerable to deception.
And why would he think that?
Stop it, Elrond.
You've defied the High King's orders before. Why not do so now?
Because he is right. Sauron used me, and under his hand I was played like a harp to a melody not of my choosing.
It was entirely of your choosing. Sauron looked inside you and plucked the very song of your soul, note by note, making himself out to be exactly what you needed, the lost king who could ride you to victory. You gave him everything he wanted and then thanked him for it. And now he has done the same to Gil-galad and to every elf in Lindon.
And that is why we need you. Help us navigate this labyrinth.
There is no navigating it. The labyrinth is his. As long as you stay in it, you have already lost. He may well want you in Eregion.
Please, Elrond. I cannot let him in again. I cannot.
All the way from Providence, Rhode Island, welcome to The Rings of Power with Mary and Blake. It's a podcast dedicated to the Rings of Power on Amazon Prime Video. So sit back, relax, and let's chat the glory of the Second Age. Everybody, and welcome back. My name is Mary Larson.
My name is Blake, and what we played at the top of this episode, Mary, is one of the more interesting things I think that this show has done. I think it pits Elrond against Galadriel,
Yeah, it
but
sure
in
does.
but in a good way
Mhm.
that makes sense to both characters, and it finally gives some kind of struggle for both of them as they journey forward in what they hope to bring the end of Sauron. I was very impressed by what the writers chose in this portion of this episode.
Spoiler alert. In the end, they do.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Good point. Good point.
I know. Elrond and Galadriel do help defeat Sauron in the end.
Good point. You know
in the
what?
end of The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, man, that's funny. That is funny. Well, anyway, you just want to let you know, obviously, that this our podcast, where we are recording it live, but we want you to subscribe to this podcast when you get a chance, or you can join us at jointhenerdclan.com, or check out all the podcasts at maryandblake.com that we have going on over there, whether it is Outlander or it is House of the Dragon. I mean, if you like something, I am sure that we have it for you. So thank you so much for all of you listening here and all of you watching live as we record this.
I want to give a big shout out for those of you who've taken the time to head on over to Apple Podcasts. Whether or not you listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, you are able to leave a written review. The stars are nice, but Blake and I don't get to see the stars. But we do get to see is if you take a moment and write a sentence or two. So I want to give a shout out. Last episode, we made a plea to Middle Earth to please write a new review, and we have someone who answered. Precious0321 wrote, Mary and Blake stand. 5 stars. Listen to many of their podcasts because 1, learn new things about the show. 2, react to their takes. 3, my obsessive personality thinks of what I watch for a while. Not only the list, I lived in New Hampshire for a while, so wanted to show support.
All right.
Thank you so
my
much, Precious.
adopted home state of New Hampshire.
That is right. So friends, just know that each one of these reviews makes a huge difference. It helps other people find the show, and it's like a big, warm hug, which a dwarf would give. Elves don't really do that, but a big dwarven hug.
Elves are not really big on the hug game.
No,
No.
but Elrond would. Elrond would give you a hug. So just know that, like, if Elrond gave me a hug, that's what it would feel like when I read a podcast review. All right, everybody. On that note, let's get into the show.
Let's do it. Here we go.
This is episode 2 of season 2, and for those of you who are listening in the future, or maybe you've already binged some episodes, this episode starts off with the replaying of the eruption of Mount Doom on paper, so you get to see it that kind of way.
Cool
And,
intro.
Yeah, then there's this earthquake inside Khazad-dûm, and it destroys their lighting structure, and so none of the crops can be there anymore. King Durin is still pouting, and Prince Durin is still pouting, and, you know, there's a lot of singing going on. Nothing good is happening for the dwarves, okay? The dwarves are having a bad season of life right now. Okay, Galadriel, she's got some weird dreams going on because she's got the ring, and she tells the High King, and the High King's like, kind of me too, but I'm not really going to talk about that much. But what I am going to do is, you know, like, let you have freedom again, even though you don't listen to me ever. And, you know, what else? We both wear rings, so we're twinsies. And Galadriel goes to get Elrond on her team, and Elrond says, girl, you're cray because you're still in love with Saruman, Halbrand, whatever. Gorgeous hair, smells good. I hear you in your dreams. I don't trust him. I don't trust you while you have that ring on your finger. So they've got that little fight going on. Then we've got desert time and tornadoes in the desert. And Nori and Poppy, they become Dorothy. OTM! OTM! That's what we should name the stranger. And, yeah, worst comes to worst. Celebrimbor, whatever. Celebrimbor. When I make notes for myself, I do voice notes, so I just call him Cal. Cal, let's Halbrand in.
Oh.
Not great, Bob.
Come on, man.
Not great.
You had one job. And then
You even said it.
Halbrand's like talking. Cal's like, I don't really like you, man. Like, I was told I shouldn't be your friend. And then Cal's like, makeover! And he does the whole Princess Diaries. And now a princess. And her eyebrows are fixed, and his hair is straight, and, Julie Andrews sings a high praise.
Oh,
There you go.
Man, that's good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So this episode was entitled Where the Stars Are Strange. It was directed once again by Charlotte Brandstrom and Louise Hooper. You should know Charlotte Brandstrom's name because she directed the premiere for season 2. But an interesting thing here, Mary, we have 2 directors credited for this episode. That doesn't it's not a strange thing, right? In fact, the biggest movie of all time, it was directed by brothers, and that is Avengers Endgame. It was directed by the Russo brothers, 2 directors. But of all the TV, Mary, that we have watched, I don't think I've ever seen an episode of television with 2 credited directors. And we've watched a lot. And it's not to say that hasn't happened before, but it's something that that I haven't seen quite a bit of. So Louise Hooper has directed a lot of interesting television as of late. She's directed episodes of the show Treason, The Sandman, Flesh and Blood, and also, Mary, a show that we tried and just could not get into, The Witcher. And the writer of this episode is someone that was from season 1 as well, Jason Cahill, who is a veteran TV writer, as writing some of my favorite episodes of television ever, including *Halt and Catch Fire* and some others. But Jason has written 103 Adar and 107 The Eye. So that is that. All right, Mary, what do you got? How many rings are you giving this episode?
4.8. I believe that's what I gave it last episode. Samesies.
Yes, you gave 4.8.
Yeah. In some moments, I would have given this episode less.
Mm-hmm.
But in other moments, I really enjoyed it. So 4.8 is solid for me. How about you?
I'm giving it a 4.7. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It is, I think, a step below the premiere, and for a couple of reasons. But I think we're about in the same vicinity here, Mary, of where we're rating this. You're GBG though. You're good. You're bad, and you're great.
My good for this episode is Khazad-dûm going dark. Khazad-dûm. Granted, I've only been here for a little while, but we have a special place for it, right? It's just gorgeous and amazing, and I've been in awe of what they were able to do. Mm-hmm. And to see how these people react to the lights going out was so terrifying. And then trying to sing to see where they could clear their way out. It just breaks my heart. I do hope they get like one little window shaft at some point, because I don't see this boding too well. But it was just very impressive to see. I've loved all of the shots of Khazad-dûm. My bad, I don't understand people. Last episode, I didn't understand why Adar didn't revisit his conversation with Halbrand after Halbrand stabs him a little bit and hurts him. Do you remember me?
Fair.
And in this episode, it's like the High King Gil-galad, good old Gil, doesn't care that Galadriel never listens to him. And that he foresaw that if she didn't go to Valinor, bad things would happen. She didn't go to Valinor, bad things have happened. She hasn't been listening to him left and right. But, one moment, Elrond breaks the rules. Mm-hmm. And Gil-galad's like, Galadriel, you're my bestie again. You're still my high commander.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, let me be in charge. And he's like, oh, no. I'm going to let the other person be in charge who also disobeyed me and jumped off a cliff with my rings? Gil-galad, High King.
Not a great High King.
You suck.
You suck,
You
guy.
keep choosing people who not only challenge you, because that's healthy and lovely, but truly, do things that are the opposite of what you say.
Yeah, opposite of productive.
Yeah.
Counterproductive, as they would say.
My bad is High King Gil-galad. He's got a nice voice, but aside from that,
Calm
got a
down. Yep.
Head full of cotton. And then
Head
my,
full of cotton.
my great is
Yeah.
that my boy, Elrond,
Yeah.
is in charge.
Wait, you just called out King Gil-galad. You just called out Gil for putting Elrond in charge. You just
no,
called him out
I'm
for that.
saying that I think he's a bad king because he can't make up his mind.
That
Okay?
is fair.
Like, what are we doing here?
That is fair.
Everyone's just gonna, you know the way to be in good graces? You know the way to get a promotion?
How's that?
Do the exact opposite of what he says.
Just show up.
He says, everybody, wear your yellow tunics tonight.
Yep.
We're gonna match the tree. Wear orange.
They call that the Costanza.
Wear purple. Wear purple.
Whatever you think you want to do,
Yes.
do the opposite.
That's it. Costanza, and you will get a promotion in the elven ranks. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I love Elrond. His human blood has really, for the lack of a better word, humanized him,
Sure.
because usually elves are pretty stoic and not really fun.
Yep.
And he's good.
Yeah.
He's good, and he cares for so many people, and he knows to be wary. I love it. I'm pumped. I'm here. I'm excited to see him lead because we haven't been able to see him lead. So I'm really, really excited for that. All right,
Yep,
Blake, your
yep.
GBG.
My good is the shot of the elves that were supposed to deliver the message from Gil to Celebrimbor. The shot of them getting dragged away because they were killed, and then obviously with that blue little jewel that they made a big deal out of on the container from the previous episodes. It's right on there, so you know exactly what it is.
That was definitely from Gil.
Oh, yeah. And I love that shot because you're like, okay, they're dead. And then off screen, somehow you don't know who did it. You don't know why they did it, but they're just getting dragged off.
It's Marley.
Oh, my God.
From Scrooge
man.
and Marley.
I-
Or from the singing version of the Muppets Christmas Carol.
which-
Marley and Marley.
which might be a superior version to all of them.
100%.
And only because...
Can you imagine if off screen it truly was the Muppets versions of Marley and Marley pulling him off with their chains? Because that's the only person I know that has that much chains just hanging around. Marley
Sure.
from A Christmas Carol. But you see the elves and the actors on the ends are actually the Muppets pulling it. Good job, guys. Anytime you need a chain person,
Yeah.
call us up. We don't have a job anymore.
The Muppets version, I think,
Dun, dun,
goes...
dun, dun, dun.
I think it's superior to all of them because Michael Caine in that movie, he goes
so
harder than
serious.
any other Scrooge ever
To Muppets.
to Muppets, and there was no irony. He took it 100% seriously,
He wanted to win an Oscar.
He
for that
totally
gig.
did.
Yeah.
and it made it even better.
You know, it's like every British actor's dream is to play Scrooge someday because
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I got this. Once I'm old,
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to
I'm gonna
land a
nail that
Scrooge
Scrooge.
role.
Michael Caine set the bar so high that it's like you don't even bother.
You don't even notice he's talking to Muppets.
Yeah.
You believe him. All right.
Just
So anyway,
took it to the heavens.
once Marley and Marley pull the elf off stage, but really, it's not Marley and Marley. Who's in these woods?
Well, the way that they edited it, they made it look like it was the workings somehow of Sauron.
Why?
Because as soon as they're done with the dragging,
Yeah.
the edit
cut?
cuts straight, hard cut right to Sauron. He was still Halbrand at that moment, at least to Celebrimbor, right? But that edit, it's Halbrand.
I didn't think so, but that's interesting to know. I'm going to look for it as you talk.
So that's that. So yeah, when you see that, Mary, just let me know.
Yeah.
And my bad, like we said, I think this show has learned a lot from its first season, and it has improved on a lot. But there are some instances that it is not improving, and that is this: the mystery. For the sake of mystery.
100%, you were right. It goes from dragging elf to the little blue gem thing broken on the ground, and then it has a very close-up shot
It's like
of
very
Halbrand's
specific.
face.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the edit feels like it's him. I don't know how he did it. I don't know, because he's been with Celebrimbor the whole time. But I don't know if he's like influenced something or somebody, like he did the warg. I don't know. And it doesn't specify necessarily where they are. It just shows them in the woods. So maybe it's close to Lindon, right?
I don't think it's.
I'm sorry, Eregion. Maybe it's close to Eregion.
I don't know, but I don't think it's Adar, and I don't think it's the.
I don't think it's Adar either.
Arooks, the orcs. I don't think it's them.
No,
because they're doing other stuff right now.
Right. So,
but the only other person that would have gone that way was Saruman.
Right. No, Sauron.
Sorry, Sauron.
Yeah.
Who knows where the heck Saruman is?
Right. Well, we're going to get to that.
But Sauron, Halbrand. I mean, maybe he just like sang to the woods and
Can
they
we just
came
call
alive.
him Halron from now on?
No, because he gets another name in this
That's
episode.
true. Good point.
So, Halbrand
Yes.
walks through the woods. He sings, and they come to life like that girl in Wish. You know the Disney movie Wish?
Yes.
All the trees, they're like, I'm a star. Watch out, world, who you are.
We'll play this again.
Okay, so he's just whistling while he works.
Yeah.
Walks through the woods, and he was like, come alive.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was the greatest showman. Come alive. Come alive.
How many random
That's what he did. He walked
movies
through
can
the
we
woods,
quote?
and he was like, what's his name? Wolverine guy, Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman,
and he was
floating on a
dancing,
cloud.
and he did like a little spin, and he would point to the trees and point to the random like junk, like chains and stuff. Yeah, that's what I think's happening.
Oh man.
I don't know where the chains came from though.
All right, so my bad, as I was saying, is
Before our musical medley.
Other than Sauron performing in Into the Woods.
No,
no.
Greatest Showman, Blake.
No, I know, but it's just never mind.
Into the Woods probably wouldn't have fit here.
Well, never mind. It's all right.
There's
it's
no
fine.
cow. There's no bread.
Yeah, but they go into the woods.
I know that, Blake.
All right. So anyway, the bad for me is the mystery for the sake of mystery.
Do you know any of the songs from Into the Woods?
No, I don't.
What?
No, because I never got into it, and I just don't care about Into the Woods.
Fine.
And you know, like James Corden, way overplayed.
Okay, continue with your. Are you doing a bad still?
Yes.
Or are you on your great? Okay.
Because we keep talking about Into the Woods and The Greatest Showman.
I'll be quiet. I'll
All
push
right.
my mic away.
Can we please just call Kieran Hines Sauron? Can we please just do it?
No, we can't.
I know we can't, and that's the thing. We're keeping these people and their identities a mystery.
I don't think it is Saruman.
For the sake of Mystery Box.
This is your bad. Is that you want to call?
Well,
the
whatever.
the
his
desert
his name
wizard?
could be Bob. I don't care. Let's just give him a name so we know who we're dealing with. Like the same thing with the stranger, not Gandalf. We know it's all Gandalf.
I don't think so anymore.
It is.
Wouldn't it be an amazing twist if he actually is Saruman?
That'd be great.
Because you think he's good. Maybe he is good. Maybe almost all, like, because he is good-ish,
Sure.
adjacent.
Yeah, he's
right.
Sauron. He's good adjacent.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know. There was one cut in this episode where they were saying like, oh, there's dark forces. And then it cut to the stranger. And I was like, stop it. If I'm supposed to be following Blake's rules of like whatever I say, and then I cut to, I believe, and I'm finally paying attention to that, why are you telling me the stranger is bad? A dark force or something?
Well, I don't think they're just telling you that. I think they've alluded to it. I think throughout the series run so far.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that kind of proves my point. It's the mystery box for the sake of it.
But I don't think Desert Wizard is Saruman.
Really?
I don't.
Do you think he's the Sauron precursor?
I just think he's another wizard. His staff is too fancy.
Okay.
Okay, Saruman's a minimalist. He likes the white,
That's true.
the beige,
He's very
the gray.
millennial gray right
Yes.
now. He's very much into
Yes,
millennial
this guy's
gray.
extra.
Okay. And then my I have a sub bad as well. My sub bad is when we are first introduced to Khazad-dûm, and you're gonna be shocked at this. I felt like Bear. He went Michael Caine hard on the music as we go into Khazad-dûm. We go through the holes and we
Don't
see.
hate on the composer.
I'm not
I love
hating,
him.
but he went Michael Caine hard.
Good for him.
And it kind of
Just like we applaud Michael Caine for going hard.
yeah, but
Now you're saying it bad. You just said it was good when it was
I
Michael
know,
Caine.
I know, but Michael Caine was good because it was funny and it worked. This one was just like it was building up. The music was so big and epic, and it has this sweeping sound, and it builds to shopping in the supermarket. Like, what do we? It was very intense for what it was.
I think it was to show us this is a grand, impressive city. Look at the feats with which they have done. This is inside a friggin' mountain.
Yeah.
That they have done this. Be proud, be in awe that they can have such a regular, simple life in a mountain.
All right, I have a great, and that is the scene with Annatar and Celebrimbor. But it's Halbrand then turns into Annatar with Celebrimbor.
Once
that
again,
whole scene was fantastic. I think there were some good horror elements that are involved in that scene. I really liked the back and forth, the manipulation, what Halbrand or Sauron is trying to do to manipulate Celebrimbor. At first, it doesn't work, and then he realizes what Celebrimbor needs, and he switches it up real quick.
Yes.
And then turns himself into Annatar. Like, that's a huge deal. And the more that we see Charlie Vickers on screen, the better we are. Because at least, right, he's not giving me Blackjack Randall vibes from Outlander and, Tobias Menzies vibes, but it's like a step below. It's a step below Tobias Menzies in Outlander. It's electric. It's not like... It's not like stealing every scene the way that Tobias Menzies does, but it's pretty close the way that Charlie Vickers does it. So, and then my, what was I going to say? Oh, my subgrade. My subgrade is the conversation between Elrond and Galadriel and how he's like, oh, no, that absolutely, you wanted, like, this was totally your doing. You needed to have Sauron be who he was for you. I loved that scene. It was great. So that's that. That's our GBG.
Yes, it is.
All right, we're going to take a quick time out for our partners in this episode. We'll be right back. All right, Marvin, that's it. That's what we got for our GBG. Now, let's talk about the episode overall. What stands out to you? What doesn't stand out to you? And where do you want to take this one? Because I don't think there was as much happening in this episode as there was in the first episode, but I think there's some good stuff to mine here. Where would you like to begin?
I would, rather than going bit by bit through the episode, would you like to do that? Would you just like to go bit by bit, starting in Khazad-dûm? Right?
You know what?
And deal with the dwarves.
Yeah, sure. All right, let's do that. Let's do.
Or
that.
did you? If you had a plan, go for it. Because I'm just running right now. I don't. You had a plan.
I don't have a plan, but here's another sub bad that I have. It's how everybody says Celebrimbor. It's especially Galadriel. It's Celebrimbor, Annatar. It's so many rolling R's.
Yeah, it's the way it's supposed to be.
It's driving me nuts. Like certain R's are not rolled, and then other R's are rolled. Like, what are we doing?
Welcome to English Elvish.
So I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's one of those things that.
Wait, what do you want to
me.
talk about?
Okay, I mean, let's just talk about.
Are we going to the dwarves?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Let's go to the doors.
Okay, so Mount Doom, as we know, erupted thanks to idiot human putting the key of the sword inside, the hilt of the sword, and triggering the water and triggering the eruption. So it's all his... What's his name again? Begin with a W.
Waldreg.
It's all Waldreg's fault. Waldreg, who is bye-bye right now, eaten by the puppy. So Waldreg, yes. I mean, I know that he wasn't like the ultimate one, obviously. Sauron and everybody else, they've put things into place, but like he's the one that kind of caused a big problem here. So we have this earthquake, and it's not necessarily evident to me if the volcano causes the earthquake that breaks Khazad-dûm, or if we're meant to see kind of that black going through the lands
Yeah.
as Sauron
Yeah.
as his force, because we saw him at the end of season 1, heading back towards Mordor. Obviously, he leaves Adar and he's making his way towards Celebrimbor. But should we be seeing this as his influence? I don't know. Like, were the earthquakes
Yeah, it's definitely
by him, or were the earthquakes from the volcano?
It's definitely an interesting thing because it's not something that we have seen yet. Like a visual precedent has not been set yet like that for this show. The spreading of the darkness from Mordor to Khazad-dûm, right? So it'll be interesting, I think, to see what if they continue that throughout the rest of this episode, and if each strand of darkness that spreads out from Mordor causes some sort of disaster of some type for each of these cities and towns, or whatever.
We go in, it's just like the typical marketplace, and Prince Durin is shopping. He wants the biggest mushroom.
It's hard not to blame him.
Probably what plays a lot of Mario.
The conversation that's had between Durin and Disa is one that is had between Mary and I all the time. I am totally Durin, being like, "Give me the biggest thing you can. I want the mushroom that's 4 times bigger than I need it."
Yeah, I don't even eat mushrooms, but
Don't even care.
I mean, Blake, you don't eat mushrooms, but you would 100% would be like, "This is the only choice we have. Then get the biggest one." I don't even like mushrooms, but just get it.
It's because I'm extra.
Oh my gosh, you were Durin in this entire episode.
100%.
Like all of it, absolutely all of it. So obviously it breaks down. I gotta say, Durin did a crappy job of protecting his wife.
I was gonna say that too. I was waiting for you to get to this.
It was pretty much as bad as when Penelope is saved during the
During
hot air
Bridgerton?
balloon in Bridgerton.
Yeah.
Like all you did was lay next to her.
He
cover
form tackled her.
Cover like a little bit of the bottom of her leg, which she could totally live without, and then you take your hand a little bit over her head. Like, buddy, cover her like a table if you're trying to protect her.
How about you just not form tackle her?
Oh, like
when she was the one that said, "Hey, brace yourself."
Now she's laying on her back with her face up. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Worst saving.
You gotta say
ever.
it right, Mir. What are we doing, guy?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
There you go. So we've got this going on, and he's upset because he has crappy food, and he's whining like a little brat, and then he won't talk to his dad, and Disa gets to go to the king.
Mm-hmm.
And what's amazing is that, like, he's meeting with the top people. Mm-hmm. He's meeting with the top dwarf scientists.
Sure.
How can we fix this problem? And one guy is able to say, this is obviously the aftershocks of the volcano erupting. But did he also say that there was, like, did he mention, without calling it the Balrog, he said there's something, like, from the depths below?
Yes.
That also shook. And I don't know if that was meaning the Balrog that we got to see at the end of season 1, and or if that all kind of happens at the same time with earthquakes arriving and just shuffling in the ground. But nonetheless, this guy kind of like scientifically names it correctly. Mm-hmm. And then Disa's like, "Move over, man. I'm going to sing."
Let's calm down, Disa.
The quality of singing that these people did reminded me of when Blake tries to sing. It starts off okay, and then obviously the Stone Singers get a little desperate because they're like, "Come on, rocks!
Yeah, right.
Come on!"
And then they make things 40,000 times worse.
They lose whatever hope they did have. If you saw a glimmer of light, please stop here. Let's pause. Let's evaluate. Let's send in that real scientific guy who seemed to have a clue what was going on. Stop screaming and creating avalanches.
Yeah, the vocalization, what do you call that? It's like
Vibrato?
The vibrato. Thank you. A little over the top.
No, I just thought that it was like
A little over the top.
they were just getting really extreme. I don't think the vibrato was the problem. I just think that it was like, ladies, you sound desperate.
Yeah. And Disa was angry. She was angry singing.
Yes, that's what I mean. Like, the
Yeah.
rocks don't want to come and play with you singing like this. Where's the little tender lullaby? They just got shaken up. Why are you yelling singing at them? Didn't work. And then the king tries to get Disa to be an owl. Oh, how's my son?
Yeah.
You go
I'm
ask
not
him
an
yourself.
owl.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
That's right, Hermione. Like, you go ask him yourself. You're both stubborn. And he's like, oh, well, some people say stubborn means I'm strong.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, well, you best be strong
Right.
because you got some issues. You want to know what your people think? Your people are having problems thinking that, like, this all started because you kicked out the elf. So you better be strong. See how strong you are.
Yeah, and then she calls out Durin, her husband, as well,
Yes.
which I think is important because I think as husband and wife, like what you say outwards is, you know, you should always be on the same page. That just, it is what it is. But inwards, husband and wife should be able to say the thing that needs to be said
Mm-hmm.
because that's just how you work as a team together. And that's hard to do. I admit, I struggle with it. Mary will say to me, hey, X, Y, and Z, like, that was messed up, or you shouldn't have done this, or you should have done that, or why did you do this? And I'll say the same to her, and it's hard. But I think that they've done the right thing. The writers have done the right thing with this relationship between Durin and Disa. They've made it believable. They've made it, I don't want to say wholesome, but they've made it so that you can relate and actually care for it, which is not something that I think they've done as a writing staff very well. They've done it with Durin and Elrond. They've done it with Durin and Disa. And aside from that, I don't know what other relationships I truly care about. Like, because Mary, what other relationships do you care about?
Nori and Poppy. I know you could care less
Oh, I
about
0.0.
all of them.
Oh, the half-foots are out.
Yeah.
Out on the half-foots.
Blake hates Harfoots. I want to be a Harfoot when I grow up. I mean, really, I just want to be a hobbit. I don't want to have
leaves
to, like,
in your hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just be a hobbit.
yeah, I'll just be the hobbit.
I
the
could be
cozy
down
one.
with the hobbit life. I totally could. I'm not down with the half-foot life. You got to be carrying all these things around. You got to wear leaves in your hair. Get out of here with that.
Yeah, so I think Nori and Poppy, I think Nori and the Stranger are a very unique relationship, and they care about each other deeply.
Well, now that the stranger, not Gandalf, can talk, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Good.
But we still have yet to get there until he starts doing some magic, and then he sends him off to Kansas, or he sends him off to Oz.
Are we done with dwarves?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
there wasn't too much else that went on with them. I think that's worthy of conversation because it was all pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I loved the opening with
Although I will say, sorry.
Yeah.
Durin getting disrespected by the miners. Oof.
And then he says, I'll bite your finger off at the knuckle if you touch me again.
And then he still gets put on his face.
yeah.
It's like, it's one thing if you say, I'll bite your knuckle off, and then you don't do anything about it. Yeah, come on, Durin. That shows you a little bit about him. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Shows a little bit.
The beginning when Galadriel is planting the seeds at her brother's
Yes.
grave, for the lack of a better word, the tree grave. I wonder if I'm going to have to look to see if they're the same kind of seeds that we see Arendir plant.
Oh, interesting.
Because, those were very special. And then Adar also plants seeds.
Yes, he does.
So this is now the third time this imagery of planting seeds has come through. And I think it's really interesting that it's done by like elf and elf adjacent people. And then of course her seeds become these terrible roots and vines that end up catching Celebrimbor, entwining him, making him basically his own tree grave.
Yes.
And then impaling him while he is being twisted up. This is the first of the visions that we get to see of hers in this episode. While he's being twisted up, he says 7 rings for the dwarves
Yes.
and 9 rings for the men.
Doomed
and
to
then
die.
doomed to die. So he says all of this, which we haven't heard before in the Rings of Power universe.
No.
Obviously, it's a very well-known thing from Lord of the Rings. So, you know, those of us who've been around here, it might just be like, yeah, we know this, Celebrimbor. What are you saying? But this is not knowledge. These have not been made. This hasn't been talked about. And the way that he is impaled
Ooh, vicious.
made me almost think of Sauron's crown.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Or of like falling onto something like spiky,
Yep,
like some kind of
absolutely.
a fence or something.
Yep.
But it definitely made me because it wasn't the regular roots. Like the roots didn't, go in his mouth. You're like, he was impaled. And so that was pretty impactful.
Sure.
But just visually, I think it's supposed to mean something.
Well, yeah, it's first of all, it's Galadriel's dream, right?
But like her dreams are doing things of truth. Like that, talking about the 7 rings for the dwarves and the 9 rings for the men, that does happen. And he does
Sure.
say, like, these are the seeds you planted, girlfriend. Like,
Right.
this
so
is your fault.
To me, that
True.
does speak more to all of this is Galadriel's doing. Like, she's the one who planted this. And he is speaking about the rings, which he's creating with Annatar and will create with Annatar.
Mm-hmm.
And then something else happens when he gets impaled or when it's close when he's getting sucked up by the tree. The scene and the coloring turns all red.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me of when Mount Doom erupted in that whole sequence with
Yeah.
Galadriel in the Southlands when she's walking through and all the ash and everything, it's all red.
Yeah.
It felt similar to that, right? And again, it calls on these horror notes that eventually come through at the end of the episode. Yeah, Mary, I think there's something to it. And without knowing the history, I will say that I think that there is a big chance that Celebrimbor dies as a result of Sauron, somehow, some way. And the reason why he's able to die because of Sauron is due to what Galadriel did or did not do when she found out that Sauron was Sauron. See what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Can you see how I make that connection?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking.
I wonder, like, if he gets hung or something because he's up high as he dies. I don't really know.
Maybe.
if they
Yeah.
have.
I don't know. But it's really not even a dream. It's more of like a vision. I think
Yeah,
because
a
she
premonition.
is talking. I mean, she's in this meeting with Gil, where she's talking about, hey, we gotta. Eventually, they're talking about how to deal with Adar, but she's touching the ring. So, yes, she even admits to Gil later on. Yeah, I've been able to see things that I don't think I've ever seen before.
He says he has to.
Yeah, right.
And then he covers his ring.
Yes, absolutely.
Which to me, I took as a way of being ashamed or hiding. Like, I don't want to talk about it. So he admits, yes, I have been having some kind of visions too. He doesn't tell her what he's seeing.
No.
And
Well, I
he
mean, he
just-
does see. He says he saw like dark clouds over white towers,
Yeah.
like
That's-
that kind of thing.
That's too vague, buddy. Give us the deets. And he covers it. Oh.
Yeah, it almost gave me Gollum vibes, like My Precious vibes.
Yeah.
But I think I like your take better, Mary, where it's like a shame thing. I think that plays better.
We got to see another interesting thing when Elrond is asking his mentor, what should I do about this? And he gets this whole talk at like, don't hate on the art
right.
if you hate the artist.
Right.
Don't
Don't judge the work.
Yeah. And he talks about the power and he's like putting his hand in this water with these fish.
Yeah.
One fish jumps out and is flopping around. Fish can't live out of water. So this means that the ring's power made this fish try to no longer live.
Right. Interesting.
Yes.
But I mean, obviously, the ring was somehow
Exciting them, and maybe it jumped
it-
for joy.
I
but
don't want to say
let's be real.
controlling, but like
Yeah.
it was making them move
Yes.
about. which is an interesting thing. And, Círdan does say humans aren't elves, or elves aren't humans, or whatever. And he does also say, too, like, these rings are not in your enemy's hands. They're in the people that you love and trust. Like, this is going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
After shaving himself with a shell, with a
Why not?
seashell?
Why not, man?
How does that even happen?
Elf magic.
Elf magic.
Halbrand. Let's get to
All about the Halbrand life.
Want to know something funny?
What's that?
I take voice memos for
Yes.
myself when I watch this show, or if I'm thinking about something while I drive. And like I said, my phone doesn't know Celebrimbor, so I just call him Cal. Gil, I just call Gil.
Yep.
Halbrand, it comes up as Helen Brand. Helen Brand.
Sorry.
Land the plane, Helen. Yeah, Helen. Okay, so Halbrand on purpose shows those scars, and he also has a thing for blonde, elvishly, ladies.
I mean,
He's like, oh, you remind me of. Let me show you my boo boo, because I know that'll get some pity points.
Yes, absolutely. And shame on Celebrimbor for doing what he does. He even says, I'm not supposed to talk to him. I shouldn't be around him. We're not going to treat with him. And then he does it anyway.
Yep.
Come on, guy. Like,
well, he does because Halbrand plays him like a lute.
Sure,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? He knows, us creators, we're always just kind of pushed aside. And what's amazing is that when he's talking with Celebrimbor is the one giving the answers.
Yeah.
Halbrand's just saying, oh, well, you should know better than I do.
right.
What do you think happened? And even when he becomes Annatar, he doesn't name himself. He comes out of the fire because, like, he's still Halbrand for a long time. He's like, I'm not who you think I am. I'm somebody else. Celebrimbor, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Let's see if you could do 2 and 2 together. And instead of Celebrimbor being like, oh, you're Sauron, which maybe Halbrand was trying to get him to say. I feel like Halbrand is trying to tell people who are his friends, this is who I really am. This is me. Okay, he's ready to play the next song from The Greatest Showman. And instead, Celebrimbor goes, you're one of those, like, people from Valinor and the Elvish people sent to help us. And Sauron's like, fine. And he goes and he does his little makeover, comes out looking like Jesus walking on clouds. And he says, I'm here. You're right. That's exactly who I am. I'm here to help you and give gifts of knowledge and all these wonderful gifts. And it is Celebrimbor who says, you are Annatar, the Lord of Gifts.
Right.
So Sauron, Halbrand, Annatar.
Still not lying.
Yeah, he doesn't say this is who I am. He's just like, I'm here to help you with knowledge, and this is how you wanted it. How amazing. Because if you really do, if you listen to him, he isn't lying. And I think he would have told him, yes, I am Sauron, if he figured it out.
Sure, absolutely. I feel like he would have.
Yeah, I think that's what he was trying to get at. And then Celebrimbor just took an abrupt left, and Sauron thought, okay, this is how he can believe it.
What will be interesting, Mary, and as you were just talking about this, between the difference of Sauron, Halbrand, and Annatar.
And now I have to call him that.
What's going to happen when Galadriel shows up? Like, she's going to show up to Eregion at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And then Celebrimbor is going to be like, hey, meet my buddy. His name's Annatar. You like him?
Yeah.
Good guy, huh?
Yeah.
And then what's going to happen? What are they going to do?
Will she recognize him?
Will Annatar just hide behind a curtain? Like, peek his head out?
Or will he fool her with his new accent, with his new gifts, with
But
his
the
new
guy looks exactly
hairstyle?
like...
Completely.
He
But
looks exactly like
people believe what
Halbrand,
they
but with
wanna
long hair
believe.
and elves.
Yes.
Elvias.
But same to Celebrimbor.
No,
Like-
but he looked at Halbrand and, like, he doesn't know that Halbrand is Sauron, right?
Correct.
So he's just looking at him like it was Halbrand.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but it's not him. He's actually Annatar. Oh, okay, I get it now. But how is this all going to go down?
Not well, Blake.
Yeah, it's not going to go well.
I don't know how it's going to go down, but when Galadriel meets Annatar, first off, I think she's going to be pumped in some ways.
That he got to glow up?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. She's going to be
like,
happy about the glow
maybe
up.
I need to rethink his marriage proposal. Being the Dark Lord's, first in command.
Sure.
Sounds pretty good. I
That
have been picking
wouldn't
up my
suck.
black leather wedding dress. But anyway.
I'm interested to see what happens with that. I really like the power that.
Elrond's going to figure it out first.
Oh, I hope so.
I hope so, too.
I think he deserves to figure it out first.
I hope he smacks him over the face.
Oh, that'd
This
be
is
great.
a terrible costume! Smack. You think this would fool me?
I think the power that Sauron shows so far in this episode is probably his biggest example of power yet. I mean, going from black goo to human is pretty good, but just this scene with Celebrimbor, to me, that is like grade A Sauron.
I wonder if each time he has a glow up, he needs to call upon one of the rings from Captain Planet, Earth, Wind, Fire, Water, Heart. Because he's had ice now. He's had.
I always feel bad for the heart kid.
Oh my gosh, he was so sweet and he could talk to animals. But he turned everything cold first time.
Sure.
Now everything's hot. He looks at a fire. Will he do something with water? Will he do something with land?
Yeah.
I don't know. Next time he gets a glow up.
Another thing that I'm really
Gets
interested
his
in,
black leather outfit.
is again, I think one of the things that season 1 struggled with was Galadriel did not have anything that she really struggled with. Like, she was captured, she got out. She needed to go back to the Southlands. She talked to the queen. It happened. Everybody likes Galadriel. She figures it all out. Everything works.
Not really. I mean, she disobeys the High King.
Yeah, but she's still his high commander of the Northern armies. Like,
Now she is.
but she still is. Like, she is what she is. But she never really struggled with, like, the only time.
She'd feel bad disobeying him.
Right. And he didn't do anything to her anyway. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, there was one time in season 1 where she says, I couldn't distinguish, or I feel like my men could not distinguish between me and the evil that we were pursuing. And I heard that and I was like, yes, okay, this is great.
Yeah.
I understand this. And then nothing happened as a result of it. It was said and then it went away. She didn't struggle with that version herself at all. But I think in this season,
It's all the struggle.
there is going to be some struggle, and there is going to be this notion that, like, Elrond says, I don't trust any of you. And you absolutely played into this, Galadriel. You're the one who made this all happen. He played you. Sauron played you
Yes.
like a flute.
Yes.
And now we're going to have to deal with this. Her struggling to find that relationship with Elrond and what that looks like. I mean, Elrond really, honestly, is the person. I love how they wrote this scene. Whereas, like, it felt like this moment that the show was building up to. He played me. I was played like a harp to a melody not of my choosing. And it felt like a person saying, I was abused, I was taken advantage of. And I think the show expected its viewers to be like, yeah, Galadriel. And then it did something that I did not expect. And it was Elrond. I think the moral compass of the show. Be like, oh, no. It was totally your choosing. The way that it was written, it was perfect. Really was perfect. And I think that struggle is going to be great. Not only between Sauron and Galadriel, but Galadriel and Elrond. I can't wait for that.
Why is Elrond making a boat? Is he trying to go to Valinor?
That's a good question.
Or is it just a mindfulness activity? Is he kind of on like a yoga retreat?
Yeah, like, why is he in Círdan's, like,
Boat making shop.
boat making shop?
I mean, I understood if you guys were all making all those boats before when the tree was dying.
Yeah.
And fish murderer guy. He doesn't really kill a fish. It's okay. Círdan. You know, if you suddenly have this order to make enough boats for all the elves to leave, is Elrond just making himself one boat? Like, all right, I tried to tell him.
I'm out.
I'm done with these people. No more rings.
Do you think Galadriel is mad at Elrond for eventually becoming the leader of this elven group?
I don't think she's mad, but she's definitely jealous, and it puts her in her place a wee bit.
It certainly feels like the show wants you to think that she's mad, to me.
Oh, I didn't get that.
You don't get that at all?
No, I got it as like, oh, I guess I kind of deserve this.
All right, fair enough.
All right, let's talk about the wizards in the desert.
Yes.
I do think it's fun that these wizards need to have these grand staffs to wield their magic. We get to see that with the stranger.
Yep.
He gets a staff and he's able to do the tornado. And then we also have the desert wizard who has almost an Egyptian-looking staff.
Totally does.
Which I love because the desert kind of has those Egypt vibes. So I didn't fully understand that when the butterfly people come in and they let the butterflies out, and then one girl has to have like a blood sacrifice for the butterflies to smell or who knows what. And then the wizard comes in, stirs the soup of butterflies with his magic staff, and then out comes the searcher person from season 1 who now talks a lot more.
Yep, can talk now.
And this person says,
She too got a little bit of a glow up, I feel like.
She did.
A little bit of a glow up.
And then she says, I'm sorry, I couldn't get the stranger, the E-Star. And then in comes the mask-wearing Phantom of the Opera human who says, I can do it. I
was going to go Death Eater vibes.
Okay, but I like Phantom of the Opera better
Okay,
because he said, if I get rid of the E-Star or if I get him, I want you to fix our skin.
Oh, yeah, fix our ailment or whatever it was. The curse on our skin.
Like, what is wrong with these guys?
Yeah, interesting.
How bad is it? And do you really have to wear crazy masks like that?
Maybe it's that bad.
And then he says, I know how to do it. I'm going to catch his little halfling friends.
Yep.
Yeah, don't you think the creepy butterfly people already tried to do that? What makes you think?
I don't think that they did.
They've been chasing after these people.
Yeah, but
What makes you think, human, that you're going to be able to do it? He's like, I've got this great plan. Buddy. Buddy.
When we buddy you, you're dead.
So then, what's crazy is that somehow Desert Wizard is like, oh yeah, human. Great idea, Phantom of the Opera. I love it. And whereas Butterfly Lady is like, listen, bippity boppity boo, I'm trying everything here. And the Desert Wizard guy says, oh yeah, well if you do it again, I'm gonna feed you to my weird pet.
Yeah,
and
the thing that just growls, it comes out of nowhere.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are all these animals and beasts? Does that one have chains? I don't know.
Don't know.
It kind of reminded me though of like the weird creatures in Star Wars that are always like hidden to eat people for fun. Like I picture Jabba off screen, like, feed her to the thing. And the little rat creature, do it.
The Rancor. That's what it was. God. The Rancor.
Why does the human in the red mask think that this can work?
I don't know. The stuff with not Gandalf, Nori, Poppy, and now Phantom of the Opera. It feels like it's spinning wheels a little bit. It feels like this story is so separate from everything else that I don't know what to make of it yet. I don't know what to make of it yet. So we'll see how it goes. All right, Marvin, you got anything else that you'd like to talk about in this episode?
No.
All right, my love. Do you want to close this bad boy out?
No. We got the Fellowship of the Ring.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Let's do it.
Strangers from distant lands, friends of old, you shall be the Fellowship of the Ring.
Our studio writes in another solid episode for me. Yay, the dwarves are back. Boo, Disa can't sing the stones because of the earthquake. sing to the stones because of the earthquake. The episode was simply drenched with foreboding. The good, the magic in the realm of the dark wizard, the jars of light releasing those white moths, and the blood sacrifice of the weird AF acolyte that returns in swirling clouds of moths that turn into the dweller. The wizard guy is up to no good, but he does have some mad skills. The bad could use a bit more of the comic relief that we had in season 1. Suppose we could count Nori and Poppy getting supped up into the maelstrom, aka Twister, like a flying cow, as if one were mean. But we are on track to doom now, and reminded of that at every turn. The great Sauron, his pervasive evil cloaked in a handsome face and benign demeanor. He never lies about his intentions or that he is evil, and he is counting on absolutely everyone's greed with the rings to complete his quest for domination. How he explains there are forces in the world beyond evil, and sometimes they aid in the form of a messenger to bring guidance to the ears of the wise. And then wrecks the room and appears in messianic form out of the flames. Yeesh, run! But Celebrimbor falls for it because of his ego. Only Elrond and Durin remain dubious about his Trojan horse of power, but Durin is under his father's thumb, and even Disa wants to go along. Elrond gets a straight-up Dharma lecture from Círdan. Hey, it's your friends that have the nukes, and higher power makes all the decisions, so stay in your lane, don't complain, because we are the good guys. Sauron was right to count on the arrogance of elves. 4.8.
Absolutely. The arrogance of the elves in the Second Age kind of reminds me of the Jedi and the High Republic, where things have just been going well for a really long time, and the Jedi, they feel like they got it on lockdown. Yeah, the Sith haven't been around in thousands of years. We're cool, but just they're overlooking things, and this is what the elves feel like at this moment right now.
Elrond's their Yoda.
Ooh, that might be
Like, don't get too complacent, everybody.
Yeah, but even Yoda
No,
does.
Yoda's questions, though.
Yeah, fair. All right, this one comes from Juanita. She says, I really liked episode 2. I don't think there was one wasted moment. I dread the suggestion that of rings made for men, because I know how that's going to end. I still think the stranger is Gandalf, and I haven't seen anything to make me change my mind. My favorite character, though, is Disa. So far, it seems like she's the only dwarf who has her head on straight. Can't wait to hear what you guys think of episode 2. Thank you, Juanita. And, of course, if you go to jointhenerdclan.com, that will put your comments in more of a favored position to be featured here on the podcast.
Casey Luke Carmoli writes in, I liked this one better than the first. I wish I had time to delve into more. Sauron is so persuasive. Love how everybody says Celebrimbor. Roll those R's. All right, Blake.
We got one voicemail. You ready for this, Marvin? Yeah. All right, let's go.
Power. I'm not very good at
Yep,
GBGs, so
Sorry,
this is
hold
going to
on.
be a bit chaotic, but I'm going to try my... Hi, Mary and Blake. This is Faye from Norway.
Hi, Faye.
I'm super excited to be back in Middle Earth, so I'm going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 2 of The Rings of Power. I'm not very good at GBGs, so this is going to be a bit chaotic, but
That's
I'm going
okay.
to try my best. I think the best part about this episode, hands down, is Disa. I mean, girl is busy doing her thing, running the show, and keeping it real with both Durins, you know, singing her heart out, going to the fair and buying groceries and saving people's lives and just not taking any bullshit from anyone.
Yes.
I've said it before. I think you guys need women are doing it for themselves. Sam drop. This girl could run all of Khazad-dûm,
Yes.
you know, by herself, and the guys are just getting in her way.
Yeah.
I think. Oh yeah. The next thing is, am I the only one shipping Galadriel and Elrond? Obviously, I know they don't end up together because he ends up married to Galadriel's daughter. But, like, I'm loving the tension. I'm loving the drama. They're like, if you cared at all about our friendship, you know, and now they're going to have to go on this quest together and they have this frenemies. Oh, love it. I'm here for it. Sign me up. Finally, you can say whatever you want about Sauron, but you have to give it to this guy. He has really good PR. I mean, Lord of the Gifts. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm here for it. Can't wait. Love you guys.
Oh, looks like
Yay.
Cheercraft. I love you too, Faye. Thank you so much. As Faye was talking about that, I was thinking about what's his name's what the heck is his name in Order of the Phoenix? Got to admit, sir. He's got Dumbledore's got style.
Shacklebolt.
Kingsley Shacklebolt.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of when she was talking about that.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Annatar's got style.
Annatar's got style. That's a new shirt. I will totally make that shirt.
Gotta admit, Annatar's got style.
Annatar's got style. All right, so that is that for the. Oh my God, my brain today for the Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, that's that. Anything else you want to talk about?
Trivia.
Okay, here we go. All right, not too much trivia, Marvin, in this episode, but the title of this episode comes from Aragorn's description of his experiences to Boromir at the Council of Elrond in the Fellowship of the Ring, in which he says, "I've had a hard life and a long, and the leagues that lie between here and Gondor are a small part in the count of my journeys. I've had crossed many mountains and many rivers and trodden many plains, even into the far countries of Rhûn and Harad, where the stars are strange."
Love it.
The next one, Círdan mentions that the great elven poets Rúmil and Daron, they are both figures from J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium and are mentioned in the Appendix E of The Lord.
Oh my God, I loved how Círdan, though, was like, okay, let's totally compare the most evil person ever, Sauron, who's here to destroy Middle-earth and murder everybody, to a drunk poet.
Yeah, right.
Because they're equally as bad. And we forgave the drunk guy.
Yeah, so you might as well, right?
Well, forgive Sauron. Because this ring is pretty amazing.
All right, that's it for today, ladies and gents.
All right.
Let's close this out. Well, we
Okay.
got to do the music here. We got to process here, man.
Okay.
I got to process. All right, actually, before we close it out, there is one thing I wanted to say here. J.M. Zerb on YouTube just said, "This is my struggle with the Rings of Power. Is it adaptation or fan fiction?" Before we go, Mary, I'd love for you to answer that question. I mean, I know it's not fan fiction, right? Because it's not.
Isn't it? But isn't it?
But it's a.
Aren't the people who write it fans?
I
And
would
they're
say
creating
this.
Their own fiction.
I would say this. It feels very much to me like Disney Star Wars. Like George Lucas created Star Wars. He wrote Star Wars episodes 1 through 6. Disney bought Star Wars and then did the sequels and then all the shows. It feels like that.
Is it only fan fiction if you're not paid for it?
What do you mean?
I mean, 50 Shades of Grey, inspired by Twilight, of all things.
Sure.
It started as, quote, fan fiction of Twilight.
Sure, yeah.
People don't they don't call that fan fiction. I think it's probably just all fan fiction until you get a paycheck and someone says, okay, you can put that up.
Right. That's a good point.
I mean, someone had this script. Someone had the idea, fan fiction, of Rings of Power. Someone said, oh my gosh, I want to write these ideas and explore Middle Earth and take these little thoughts and everything that J.R.R. Tolkien had. But what if we fleshed it out?
Yeah,
Someone started fanfic of their own.
Sure. And then pitched it.
And got paid for it.
Got paid for it.
Yeah. I think they're all one and the same. I think we just give it the bad connotation of fanfic when you're not paid for it.
Yeah, because it is adapting his works.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that people are struggling with, because no, it's not Tolkien. It's not. But it's inspired by him.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair. It's fair to take stories that were written and say, oh, I have a cool idea.
I think it's an adaptation if you get the blessing and you get paid for it, and if it's fan fiction if you don't. But a lot of adaptations started as fan fiction.
Yes.
And I think this did.
And I don't really care if it's, like I said in the first episode, I don't care if it's Tolkien or not. Who cares? As long as it's well written and well directed, well acted, right? As long as it's entertaining, that's all that matters to me. I would say that so far, Season 2 has been more entertaining than Season 1. And I wanted to keep going down that road.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. That's all
I'm
we got.
Mary.
My name is Blake.
And you actually wrote to us saying what it was that we said.
Oh, what?
It was like the Elvish blessing.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. But I don't remember it, so we're gonna need to find out what it was. But I wish you all well in English.
Oh, I can't remember now.
And I hope you have a great day in English. And be safe in English. All right,
always listen to Elrond. That was what we said last time.
That's what I said last
Trust
time.
in
for
Elrond.
Sure. Trust in Elrond,
Yeah,
which I still stand by too.
Yes, I agree. Trust in
All right.
Elrond.
Bye, everybody. We'll
Bye.
have the Elvish blessing at the end next one.